Welcome to the Economist in Your Ear podcast. Can a social media app, one frequently labeled a national security risk, truly become an indispensable tool for military recruitment and community building? It's a fascinating question that really cuts right to the heart of the often uncomfortable relationship between rapidly evolving technology and, well, long-established institutions. Today, we're looking at an article from The Economist titled, "The Young American Female Soldiers of TikTok." This piece sort of peels back the curtain on the world of #Miltok, that unique niche on TikTok where military content thrives. It paints a vivid picture of servicewomen using this platform in ways that are both unexpected and arguably maybe even transformative for the armed forces.
Indeed. And what we're going to explore today, I think, goes far beyond what simply appears on our screens. This discussion is fundamentally about understanding the lived realities for military personnel, the strategic implications for national defense, and the rather curious contradictions that arise when the digital world, with all its spontaneity, clashes with the, structured environment of the military. We'll examine what the article truly nails, where its initial framing might be a touch too simplistic, and most importantly, how we can all think more incisively about this complex phenomenon.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The article immediately draws our attention to a significant demographic shift within the military. A noticeable increase in women in uniform coinciding with declining male recruitment. The piece suggests that #Miltok is a crucial part of that evolving story. What, in your view, are the most compelling observations the article makes right from the start?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is how the article so accurately identifies Miltoks, not just as a trend, but as a genuine organic phenomena. And it is, quite remarkably, filling crucial gaps within the military institution itself. For servicewomen in particular, it's proving to be an invaluable space. Imagine a vast informal network where they can swap practical knowledge, everything from navigating the intricacies of uniform regulations and grooming standards to finding reliable childcare solutions, or even just tips on adapting to a new base. It's about building a sense of community, a shared understanding, and practical support that, historically, might have been harder to come by. And this really resonates with the Department of Defense's own data, which continues to highlight persistent sex discrimination risks. To put some numbers on it, roughly 16% of women reported experiencing discrimination in 2021, compared to a mere 1.4% of men. And unfortunately, the 2023 data continues to track similar issues, albeit with some efforts towards improvement.
So Miltok essentially acts as a vital informal support network for women operating within what has traditionally been a very male-dominated environment. It sounds like these digital communities are addressing needs that might not be fully met by formal institutional structures.
Yeah, that's a very perceptive way to put it, yes. It's almost as if the informal digital channels are stepping up where formal ones might fall short or perhaps be less accessible. And the numbers absolutely underscore the idea of a rising female presence, which Miltok helps foster. You look at DoD demographics, they reveal a steady improvement in the female-to-male ratio, shifting from 1.5.8 back in 2005 to 1.4.6 in 2023. This isn't just a statistical blip. It's a quantifiable, measurable shift, consistent with the article's observation of more women choosing to serve. It tells us that these spaces are becoming increasingly important for attracting and, maybe just as importantly, retaining this vital demographic.
Right. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The article's suggestion that TikTok might actually be a powerful recruitment tool, especially for Gen Z. Does the evidence truly back up that claim, or is it more of an emerging hypothesis?
Well, the article certainly provides some compelling circumstantial evidence. It points out that after significant recruiting shortfalls across the DoD in fiscal years 2022 and 2023, there was a reported 12.5% year-over-year increase in FY 2024. And crucially, the Army specifically credited a surge in female enlistments, which were up a remarkable 18%.
Wow, 18%.
Yeah. Now, while we can't definitively say that TikTok caused this rebound, correlation isn't causation. After all, it absolutely highlights why military services are so keen to engage with any channel that effectively reaches Gen Z. This demographic, as we know, lives and breathes on platforms like TikTok. So it provides invaluable visibility in what has become an intensely competitive recruiting landscape. With fewer young people even considering military service, any platform that organically connects recruiters, or rather service members themselves, with potential recruits becomes an asset, even if its direct impact is hard to measure with precision.
Right. But as with many compelling stories, there are often nuances that the initial framing might miss. The article implies a clear, almost direct link between TikTok and this recruitment surge. Is that connection as strong and as straightforward as it might seem on the surface?
This really raises an important question about attribution. The piece suggests a material boost to accessions. That's the military term for new enlistments, new people joining. But we simply lack hard attribution data. We know from various polls that Gen Z primarily learns about the military through social media, right? Including platforms like TikTok and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
This certainly supports the idea of increased exposure. But exposure, and this is a critical distinction, is not the same as conversion.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Someone seeing an ad for a product isn't the same as them actually going out and buying it. Without specific matched market tests, where you compare recruiting outcomes in areas with and without heavy Miltok presence, or detailed recruiter funnel data tracing a recruit's journey from that first TikTok video all the way to enlistment, the claim remains more a correlation than definitive proof. It's a very plausible theory, I grant you, but not yet a proven one.
And what about the elephant in the room, TikTok's ownership and those persistent national security concerns? The article touches on it, but I'm curious, does it truly capture the depth of that contradiction? It feels like an immense tension.
You're hitting on a truly crucial omission in the article's framing there. The tension isn't just implicit, it's enshrined in law now. We've seen Congress and the courts move decisively to force ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, to divest the platform or face a nationwide ban, with the Supreme Court upholding the sale or ban law slated for January 2025.
Right. That deadline is looming.
Exactly. And furthermore, the No TikTok on Government Devices Act is already firmly in place, explicitly barring official use on government-issued or contractor devices. So what this means is that Miltok, as celebrated in the article, largely thrives on personal devices.
Ah, okay.
This isn't just ironic. It creates a fragmented and rather messy approach to outreach, compliance, and message control. It's a profound governance contradiction. The military officially bans TikTok on government devices due to security concerns, yet unofficially benefits, perhaps even relies, on its private use for crucial recruitment and community-building efforts. This creates a significant strategic bind that isn't fully explored in the piece.
So on one hand, it's identified as a national security risk, and on the other, it's clearly serving as a powerful, albeit unofficial, recruiting tool. That truly is a fascinating dilemma. The article briefly mentions security and ethics concerns in just a single paragraph? Do you feel that's the full picture of the inherent risks?
Oh, definitely not. That single paragraph truly underplays the immense complexity at the crux of this issue. The Department of Defense has very specific, very strict rules for personal posting by service members. These include absolutely no implied endorsement of the military by a personal account, clear disclaimers that opinions are personal.
Right, the standard boilerplate.
Exactly. And meticulous care for uniform and insignia in public posts. And most critically, absolutely no OPSC leaks, that's operational security, meaning no information that could inadvertently compromise military operations, personnel, or strategic advantage. This inherent friction between an individual's desire for personal expression and the military's overriding need for control and security explains much of the command's skepticism, even if you set aside the significant China risk concerns. The article touches on some of the PSYOPs conspiracy theories, citing the Haley Lujan discourse as an example.
Yes, I remember reading about that.
But it doesn't adequately grapple with the deeper, more pervasive institutional risk. This isn't just about foreign influence. It's about the blurring of personal brand with official image, and the potential for these blurred lines to be exploited in a contested information space, intentionally or not. For example, if a service member, however innocently, posts content that can be misinterpreted or taken out of context, it can become a public relations nightmare or even a vulnerability that the military then has to manage. It's a constant, delicate balancing act.
You mentioned Haley Lujan, who the article describes as known for pairing cutesy antics with graphic references. It sounds like the individual actions of some servicewomen, while perhaps effective in reaching audiences, can inadvertently complicate things for the institution.
Exactly right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the article largely treats the broader political context as mere background noise, or just decor, perhaps. But it's fundamentally structural. The climate in Washington and within the DoD profoundly shapes how servicewomen's public self-presentation on platforms like TikTok is policed, praised, or even punished. When high-level leadership, like the current Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, even if he modulated his positions for confirmation, arrives with a history of culture war rhetoric, it sends signals down the chain of command. Controversies, like the DoD having to address the reposting of an anti-suffrage video, continue to surface. This type of incident underscores how sensitive the public image is. If leadership sends signals, however subtle, that certain forms of expression or unconventional outreach are unwelcome or politically risky, it can stifle the very organic content that makes Miltok so effective for recruitment and community. The article really underweights how crucial those top-down signals are for ground-level tolerance of Miltok's unconventional, yet seemingly effective approach.
Given these complexities, then, the security concerns, the recruitment benefits, the internal contradictions, what does this all mean for how the military should approach Miltok moving forward? Is it destined to be just a powerful but risky workaround, or can it genuinely evolve into a more durable sanction tool?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The reality check on legality and security is key. TikTok is banned on government and contractor devices, and it's fenced by ethics and OPSEC rules, but crucially, it is not banned for personal off-duty use. This leaves a significant gray zone where it de facto functions as a recruiting and a retention amplifier without official sanction or full institutional endorsement. It's an interesting paradox where the military is benefiting from something it can't officially touch. This creates a kind of policy vacuum and unofficial acceptance without clear guidance or strategy.
That's a stark picture. It feels like the military is walking a tightrope. What happens if TikTok isn't around in its current form for much longer, especially with those divestiture laws coming into play? That whole gray zone could just disappear overnight.
That raises a critical and very immediate concern, yes. If TikTok goes dark, or if its ownership fundamentally changes, do we have a plan B? A forced divestiture or an outright ban would instantly disrupt the very community and the expansive reach that the article celebrates. Think about the thousands of servicewomen who built these networks, shared this knowledge, and reached potential recruits. All that could be gone in an instant.
A major loss.
A huge loss. It suggests that military services should already be proactively migrating their creator programs and social media guidance to platform-agnostic playbooks. This means thinking about content strategy and community building in a way that isn't tied to one specific app. They should be developing strategies for YouTube, Instagram Reels, other short-form video platforms.
Diversify.
Precisely. Ensuring they don't lose that hard-won reach and connection should TikTok disappear. It's about building resilience into their digital outreach strategy.
Beyond just having a plan B, how can the military truly understand and optimize TikTok's impact, or the impact of any social media platform for that matter, instead of just operating on a hunch?
Yeah, the current approach, as you said, is largely based on a hunch that it helps, which, while intuitively appealing, isn't enough for robust policymaking. To move beyond mere anecdotal evidence, they absolutely need to measure, not guess. The military needs to treat Miltok or any similar social media initiative like any other recruitment pipeline.
Makes sense.
This means tracking specific metrics. Are people clicking through links to recruiting touchpoints from TikTok? What are the appointment set rates from these leads? How many actually result in signed contracts? And maybe critically, what's the early attrition rate for recruits whose initial interest was sourced via these creators? It's about creating a quantifiable loop.
Right, seeing if they stick around.
Exactly. And then, crucially, they should publish sanitized results. This shifts the conversation from subjective observations to data-driven policy, allowing for real optimization and justification for resources. Transparency about what works and what doesn't without compromising individual privacy or security would be incredibly valuable.
And finally, looking out for the soldiers themselves, the creators on these platforms, what's needed to make this kind of digital engagement sustainable and safe for them, especially given the unique vulnerabilities of military personnel online.
Well, the fastest way to make this sustainable and safe is through the establishment of clear, uniform social media standard operating procedures, SOPs, across all services. And this isn't just about generic guidelines. It needs to include specific, quick-turn OPSE fair reviews when posts go viral, for example, to ensure no sensitive information is inadvertently shared. It requires robust commander education on the issue, so leadership understands the opportunities and the risks and how to support their service members online. And critically, it means establishing a clear, accessible abuse reporting and disciplinary channel that genuinely deters doxing and harassment. The WGR data on discrimination that we discussed earlier shows how high the stakes are for protecting these service members, who are often sharing deeply personal aspects of their lives.
Absolutely.
Without a secure, supportive framework, the very people driving this informal yet vital outreach are left exposed.
So if we pull all of this together, The Economist article is certainly right that young servicewomen on TikTok are fundamentally reshaping how the military looks online. And that increased visibility probably helps recruiting at the margins, drawing in a demographic that might not otherwise consider service.
That's spot on. But the central contradiction remains stark. Washington is simultaneously restricting TikTok due to very real security concerns, while implicitly relying on its powerful network effects for recruitment and community building. Until the Pentagon moves from this current state of tacit tolerance to an evidence-based platform-agnostic strategy, Miltok will continue to be a powerful but ultimately brittle workaround, rather than a truly durable and sanctioned tool for recruiting and retention. The military can't really have it both ways indefinitely.
So, as we wrap up this discussion, that original push and pull between innovative technology and entrenched institutions remains starkly evident. The critical question for you, the listener, and for the military itself is how traditional powers can effectively wield tools like TikTok, immensely powerful yet fraught with profound, unresolved risks, without compromising their core mission or identity. It's a balancing act that will define how institutions navigate our increasingly digital world. Thanks for listening. Follow us to stay updated with the latest insights on The Economist every day, and don't forget to like, comment, and share.